All right. So good morning, everybody. Again, welcome and thank you for taking time to join us for the 2020 annual meeting. I want to thank you for your flexibility going on this virtual journey with us for the last few months. I really miss seeing you all in person and am looking forward to when we can do that soon. So before we get started, I just wanted to start with a story because we've been playing musical cars at the Wheeler House lately. And when I got into the car that Chris had been driving yesterday, there were 5 hats all lined up on the dashboard and 2 on the floor. Keep in mind, he only has 1 head. So I wondered why the heck all the hats had to be right there. And that reminded me of a story, which reminded me of how many of us, I think, are feeling these days. So my girls were bored and looking for something to do a few months back. So they started counting Chris's hats. And so for those of you that know Chris, you know he's a hat wearing kind of guy. So he has quite a few. They gathered all his hats, even the ones that were on the dashboard, hidden in the car, tucked in the nooks and crannies of the house, and started counting. There were so many. I think they stopped counting at 295. I honestly can't remember. The number was so high. It was higher than anybody should have hats. So I not so gently suggested that he donate some of his extra hats, and he not so gently reminded me that he has a rotation and that each hat is special, reminding him of a place or a thing that's meaningful to him. And then he said something like, well, you know, we all wear many hats and they all have a story. And I got to thinking and realized that's how I know I'm feeling these days. And I'm guessing many of you might be feeling that way too, because we all wear a lot of hats and they're all important. I don't know about you, but it's only 8:30 and I've had about 9 different hats on, in addition to my chamber hat this morning, my cheerleader hat, if cheerleaders wear hats, my counselor hat, protector hat, referee hat, friend hat, family hat, janitor hat, my captain's hat, and my hard hat, which lately it feels like is an important one to protect us from the unexpected without injury or getting crushed. So the challenge, of course, is to know which hat to wear at what time, even when it doesn't match or is a perfect fit. But I know I wear each one with pride, and each one reminds me of something or someone important or a role that I play. So I recognize there were challenges that no one could have imagined or planned for since we were together at last year's annual meeting. And I know how many hats many of you have been juggling to stay afloat. So when I put on my chamber hat, I have to tell you I'm filled with gratitude as I reflect on how we've come together to ensure the continued health, vibrancy, and vitality of the communities that we all know and love. So speaking of gratitude, can we just talk about the chamber staff for 1 second, because Bobby and Kim are an essential part of the chamber team. Yeah, claps, thumbs up. They have remained true in their commitment to the chamber and ensured the chamber has remained steadfast to its mission, even in the midst of a pandemic. Their flexibility, talents, and ability to innovate the last few months is the reason we're here today and are well positioned for what lies ahead. So thank you both. Our focus supporting business and building community in the Exeter area has not changed, but how we get here has and will continue to evolve to meet the ever-changing needs of our members and communities. In the past few months, our support to members has focused on serving as an information hub by sharing resources, answering questions, providing technical assistance, advocating at the state and national level, offering programs with industry leaders, and arranging for important conversations with elected officials. And of course, we've been hosting virtual events to ensure we remain connected to each other during this important time, which is so critical. If there's one thing I know, it's there's so much we don't know. But when faced with the unknown, I can assure you that one thing remains constant, and that's we are committed to our mission more than ever before. We are mission driven and member focused, and our priority will continue to be on supporting you with resources, advocacy, programming, and marketing to ensure the Exeter area is a great place to live, work, and play. Our goal is to be a dependable lifeline for you, since we know you're doing all you can to keep your doors open, and thank you for allowing us the opportunity to do that. At the center of it all is the board of directors of the chamber, led by our board chair, Rachel Ela. Rachel served on the board for the last 4 years, the last 3 as its chairperson. While she has another 2 in her board term, she'll be stepping down as chair this month. Rachel's strategic vision, courage, integrity, and focus has positioned and strengthened the chamber and impacted our communities in significant and meaningful ways. She's an exceptional leader and a champion for the chamber in every sense of the word. Rachel's one of the most committed and supportive board chairs with whom I've had the pleasure to work, and with my chamber president hat on, I can say with great certainty that the chamber would not be where it is today without her leadership. I'm so lucky and proud to have the opportunity to work with her as chair, and even luckier to call her one of my dear friends. It's with my friend hat on that I know how bittersweet this moment is, feeling proud, happy, and sad all at the same time. And I know I'm feeling all those things too. So Rachel, thank you for all you've done and will continue to do for me, the Chamber, our members, and communities. And now I'd like to turn it over to you so you can lead us through one of your final tasks as chair, the business portion of the annual meeting.
Thank you so much, Jen, for the kind words. This is gonna be a tough one. All right, so we're gonna get into the meat of it. So I would like to welcome you to the 2020 annual meeting of the Exeter Area Chamber of Commerce. I officially bring this meeting to order. I would like to begin by introducing to you your 2019-2020 Board of Directors. And here's one benefit to having you all on mute. I don't have to ask you to hold your applause until the end. So you can clap, but I'm gonna keep going. So first, your executive committee. Vice Chair, George Soderberg, Hay Creek Hotels. Secretary, Peggy Small Porter, Richie McFarland Children's Center. Treasurer, Tim Nunes, Unitil. Member at Large, Patrick Garrity, Phillips Exeter Academy. And your directors, David Adams, Granite State Growler Tours. Elliot Evans, Edward Jones. David Fitro, Exeter Health Resources. Rob Ficara, Exeter Bowling Lanes and Shooters Pub. Linda Horn, Mary Kay, Independent Sales Director. Lisa Kessler, Kessler Insurance. Melissa Corin Wilson, Melissa Corin Wilson Photography. Karen Cross Cumberland, SK Lawyers. Devin Oot, Haven. Keith Lamarise, Taste of the Seacoast. And Perla Phillips, Fit Body Transformation. And your honorary board members, Rustine, Town of Exeter, Andy Agante, Town of Newmarket Parks and Recreation, Seth Hickey, Town of Stratham Parks and Recreation, and David Ryan, Superintendent, SAU 16. Now I would like to introduce our treasurer, Tim Nunes of Unitil, to present a brief financial update. Tim.
Good morning, everyone. Last year I gave a nautically themed treasurer's report where I used the sailing ship of yesteryear as a metaphor for the chamber. For the sake of continuity and with your indulgence, I'd like to continue with that same theme. When I concluded my remarks last year, I indicated that our ship was ship-shape, but with a word of caution that many unknown perils still abound. Who would have imagined a year ago that today we would be speaking about hitting a massive, uncharted reef now known as COVID-19? When we hit the reef, our steering became disabled and we lost our favorable wind. Our stout crew set about making repairs to keep the ship afloat. However, with no wind to propel us and our steering still inoperable, we have drifted into an immense and exceedingly thick fog bank. Having struck the same reef and been caught up in the same fog bank, we can hear other ships calling out for help. Some are listing heavily. Other, less fortunate ones have slipped beneath the waves. To survive, we must fashion a means by which we're able to independently propel ourselves out of this peril. For reliance on benevolent lifelines that are temporary in nature come with their own set of long-term concerns. My fellow passengers, our ship is in a hazardous position and our course forward is unclear. Let us stubbornly decide to hunker down and weather out this storm together. From experience, all fog banks do eventually lift and dissipate, and this one will as well. Let us hope that the provisions stowed on board can sustain us until that time. To borrow a quote from John Paul Jones, when asked to surrender his ship to the enemy, his reply was, "We have not yet begun to fight." My fellow passengers, in this year of immense uncertainty, I submit to you that your ship has not yet begun to fight. Madam Chair.
We have the most poetic treasurer in these parts. Thank you so much, Tim. I've already recognized an important group of volunteers this morning, and I would now like to introduce to you an equally important part of our chamber that keeps us running in a way that no other group could. We are so lucky to have this team, our Ambassador Committee. Your 2019-2020 ambassadors are past chair Samantha Thiebold, Independent Damsel Pro. Chair Susan Young, Clean by the Sea. Board of Directors Liaison, Linda Horn, Mary Kay. Michelle Marshman, Juice Plus. Derek Najarian, Precision BMW Repair. Bruce Randall, Randall School of Karate. Derek Foley, Liberty Mutual Insurance. Patricia Berger, Notary Public. Secretary, Krista Cambara, Voluminous Properties. Karen Dralick, Rejuvenations Professional Massage. Kelly Hutchinson, Kennebunk Savings Bank. Karen Lemire, Realtor Associate Broker. Tammy Simons, Crescent Wealth Management. Steve Schwalje, Northwestern Mutual Insurance. Jenny Bishop, White Wave Photography. Charlotte Legg, Fairfield Inn. Brandon Gove, EXP Realty. Amy Arsenault, Galley Hatch, and Donna Buxton, Buxton Water. Thank you for everything that you do for your chamber. We truly appreciate it, and it has been a pleasure to work with every group that I've had the opportunity to work with. For the 2020-2021 fiscal year, the following slate of board members has been proposed for a 3-year term. Joanna Bramer, Lighthouse Advisory. Kelly Hutchinson, Kennebunk Savings Bank. Current serving board members that have been proposed for another 3-year term: Perla Phillips, Elliot Evans, and Patrick Garrity. Do I have a motion to accept the slate as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, I see Melissa, and then second, I see Donna Buxton. All those in favor, please take yourself off mute and indicate with a rounding round of applause. Woo!
Yay.
All right.
Congratulations, welcome, and thank you for your service. We look forward to working with you. And with that, may I have a motion to close the formal business portion of the 2020 annual meeting?
So moved.
Who was that?
Carol Gullis.
Okay, thank you, Carol, for meeting minutes reasons. May I have a second?
Second.
I'll second that.
Lisa. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you. Motion passes. So these are my informal comments. It's been 3 years. We're gonna try to get through this without any tears. No guarantee, they've already started, so here we go. Last year, my speech included quotes from Beyonce and Toni Morrison. And while the Beyonce quote, "Who runs the world, girls," still applies here under the leadership with Jen, Bobby, and Kim, it's the Toni Morrison quote that I'd like you to focus on. At some point in life, the world's beauty becomes enough. You don't need to paint, photograph, or even remember it. It is enough. I have to say, I'm not sure Toni is really totally correct here. It's true, When something is beautiful, you don't need to recreate it. But when beauty truly touches your heart, you can't help but remember it, and quite vividly. That's how I feel about my time as your chairwoman. I actually started writing this speech out loud this February while I was catching up with Christopher from Restore My Floor at our last in-person business after hours at the Exeter Inn. We were reminiscing over how far we had come since joining the chamber. Look at Christopher himself. When he joined the chamber and the ambassador committee, he had just taken the big leap of going into business for himself. And now, Restore My Floor actually services Fenway Park. Look at Bill and Diane DeJow of Annie's Angels. In 2012, when Annie's Angels joined the chamber and Bill joined the ambassadors group, they gave away $161,000 to local families in need. In 2019, they gave away $409,000. Let's do. Personally, I have grown a great deal from my time with the chamber and more specifically as your chair. I've gone from managing the Stratum office to playing a large role in the Cambridge Trust merger last year, and now I oversee 8 offices for the bank. I can honestly say, without the skills and the confidence that I have built up through this experience, I would not have been prepared for either task. This role has tested me in ways that I could not have planned for, and I have gained so much from the members that have collaborated with me and supported me throughout my time here. The last 3 years, which was supposed to be 1, has been an adventure. A great deal was accomplished. So many successes were celebrated. A great number of smiles were shared. And at times, a few tears were shed. Mostly happy, sometimes frustrated, and there was also possibly a fair amount of Prosecco that was consumed throughout. Through everything, the all-in approach that our members take with anything that their chamber or community asks of them was constantly highlighted and so inspiring. We stood up at select board meetings. We poured beer for 4,000 of our closest friends. We partnered with others in the community for the small business revolution. We accidentally shut down Portsmouth Ave with a wildly successful food truck festival. We welcomed Santa to town numerous times. We offered opportunities for our members to have important conversations about tough topics like the economy and mental health. State and national leaders shared important insight. Over 50 of us danced our hearts out to a Justin Timberlake song. We honored leaders in our communities. We cut lots of ribbons. And we engaged businesses, organizations, and the community to promote local commerce and culture. In January of 2018, we found ourselves going from 3 staff members down to 1. Bobby made us so proud as how she persevered through that challenging time, keeping the chamber running while we found a new president and a new events and marketing director. She did it with grit, determination, and with that unmistakable infectious laugh. When I think of that time, I think of the board and ambassadors taking shifts to run the office. I think of a gang of people wrestling together the YMCA stage and the projector screen for the Business of the Year Awards. I think of late night strategy calls with the executive committee and with Bobby herself. I think of all the resumes we read and all of the interviews we conducted in the executive search. I think of me and Bobby falling asleep at the Optima table for the small business showcase because we had had so many events and activities in one day we could barely stand. I think of a very patient and extremely helpful board that listened to me and allowed me to lead through a very difficult time. We worked together and we kept the chamber running, and even more than that, on a path towards success. And having that history of perseverance is so important right now. We were lucky to find a talented and passionate president in Jen when she joined the chamber in May of 2018. Her mission-driven, member-focused approach has been a huge driver in rebuilding the health of the chamber, especially from a financial standpoint. Her collaboration with her partners in the community, like Exeter Hospital, and the programs and events that have been introduced during her short time with us has built a strong foundation. I honestly don't know where we would be in this COVID era had Jen not arrived when she did. We are so lucky to work with her, and it has been a pleasure throughout. It's going to be hard not being in charge anymore. After 3 years, I've kind of gotten used to it. And after investing so much time and energy into the chamber, it sort of feels like my baby now. And thought of passing the torch and that baby and the responsibility to a new leader was scary. That is until my dear friend George agreed to accept the torch. I will not steal his Kennedy impression, but I will tell you that he is someone who is a leader and will not ask what the chamber can do for him, but what he can do for the chamber. He's been a constantly present and dedicated board member that can be counted to show up, especially when it counts. He leads Hay Creek Hotels with a jovial sense of conviction. He is dedicated to his team and colleagues at the hotels Hay Creek manages, and I know he will take the same approach as chairman. His skills, experience, and caring attitude are what we need in a leader during this critical and challenging time. Following George is Linda Horn, a stalwart board member who's been the heart of our ambassador and now our membership committee. Your board members at large is comprised of creative, passionate, and determined leaders who excel in their fields. Our staff, now including Kim, who has already proven her tenacity and talent by turning our traditional events upside down in this new reality, is well positioned to serve our membership as it deserves. You are so important to them, and you are so important to this community. I am proud of the work that has been accomplished over the last 3 years and believe wholeheartedly, man, I was doing so well.
Yeah, you were doing good.
I believe wholeheartedly that this could not be left to a stronger group of leaders. And I am so grateful for having had the opportunity to work with them and to serve you. Our lives all have a butterfly effect that is in constant motion. Tracing back, there are so many amazing experiences that have occurred, dear friends that have been made, professional goals that have been achieved, successes that have been celebrated, lifelines that have been established and used, and impacts that have been made because the chamber and being your chair has been that butterfly in my life. It has been an honor and a privilege, and I cannot wait to see what this next chapter holds for the Exeter Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Done.
Okay. So with that, I am thrilled to pass the torch to my friend and now your chairman-elect, Mr. George Soderberg. George.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to focus all of my time on recognizing Rachel, if I could. I simply will say that I look forward to working with Jen and the team and all of you. And I'm going to admit to you that when this COVID thing first hit, and then I realized I was going to be the chair, I was like, oh my God, what is with that? But now I'm kind of pumped about it. You know, you got to step up. When the times get tough, it's time to get tough. So if we can send a man to the moon, dang it, we're going to keep this chamber flourishing. I'll promise you this, we are going to leave it all on the field. That I promise you. Anyway, let me go to my teleprompter. Madam Chair, Madam President, members of the board, ambassadors, and members of the chamber. It is my privilege to be in the position to recognize Rachel Ann Ela for her extraordinary leadership and numerous accomplishments. Rachel became a member of the Area Chamber of Commerce in 2011 as an ambassador, a position that she held for 5 years. In 2016, she was invited to join the board of directors and was immediately recruited to the executive board, accepting the position of board secretary. In a bind, just 6 short months later, Rachel was approached and elevated to the position of vice chair. Traditionally a stair-step position, Rachel ascended to the chairmanship in the 2017 and 18 annum. It was that January when the chamber experienced one of the most tumultuous periods in its history. With staff changes from president on down the organizational chart, the staff would be comprised of just 2 until May, Rachel and Bobby. Despite these challenges, they hunkered down, dug in, and continued to move us forward almost seamlessly. While the successful search for president, our current, concluded and relieved a great many direct duties, it was not to be the end of her dedicated service. The chamber desperately needed stability, and so Rachel volunteered to serve a second term as chair. The organization was turning a dark page in its history. Things were beginning to change for the better. Our sun was rising. One might think that after this level of devotion and at the end of her second term, Rachel would have earned her well-deserved past chair post. Well, in a patchwork effort to keep the momentum going and to ensure this vibrant executive board, the choice of vice chair required that we make the reluctant decision to accept that there would be no succession plan this time around. Rachel would have to step up again and serve another tour of duty. During her tenure, the chamber successfully transitioned the offices to our current space, led a fruitful executive search, saw the line of credit paid off, and forged stronger partnerships with our largest members, just to name a few. Of all these accomplishments, of course, they would be momentous enough just for one organization alone. But as always, with Rachel, there's more. During her tenure, in one of the most challenging periods, somehow Rachel managed to serve on the board of directors for the Society of St. Vincent de Paul from 2013 to 19, serve as a member of the Executive Rotary Club from 2012 to the present, and as president in 2015 to 16. Serve on the New England YWCA Board of Directors from 2009 to 11, the Town Center Revitalization Committee for the Town of Stratham from 2012 to 2014, the Somersworth Share Fund Board of Directors from 2013 to 2016, and is a 2014 class member of the Leadership Seacoast. I am almost exhausted. While these are significant contributions in and of themselves, I would be remiss if I did not remind everyone that Rachel also has a job. 2, actually. Rachel has been a rising star at the what was Optima Bank, reaching the position of Vice President Area Manager. Ripe for merger in 2019, she was identified as a conversion leader for the Optima Cambridge Trust merger. Shortly after the successful merger, Rachel was promoted to Vice President in Consumer Banking, District Manager for New Hampshire, as noted, overseeing 8 banking offices in the fall of 2019. Her second job, raising a family. Likely the hardest of them all. And let's be honest, gentlemen, when it comes to domestic participation, women carry the lion's share of the load. Full stop, drop the mic. I can speak, I think, for all of us gentlemen, you are the greatest, you have our greatest admiration and respect. That is pretty hard work. When chamber historians look back in 60 plus years of its existence and rank the greatest chair people of all time, I have no doubts she will be among the top, a member of the EACC Mount Rushmore Club, if you will. Because it warrants a notice, it is also nice to know that the service and dedication to our organization and to our community did not go entirely unnoticed. She is a Paul Harris Fellow recipient from the Rotary in 2015, a district grant recipient for the Cuban Water Project, also Rotary in 2016, a top 10 to watch by the Seacoast Media Group in 2018, and of course, Citizen of the Year at the Exeter Area Chamber in 2019, and most recently was chosen 40 under 40 in New Hampshire from the Union Leader in 2020. These are extraordinary achievements individually, save their magnitude collectively. And now it is my distinct honor to bestow another well-deserved recognition to her already significant list. First, as founder and captain of the Hampton Piglets Scooter Club, it is my pleasure to present you an honorary Hampton Piglet Scooter Club shirt. This is much coveted, but rarely distributed. I'll have you know that.
I am honored.
On a more serious note, our contribution in recognizing your service and passion and dedication on behalf of the Exeter Area Chamber and community, as well as in conjunction with the permission extended to me by the Exeter Inn, is to nourish your personal passion in landscape design and gardening. Therefore, it is my direct honor, with the power invested in me, and on behalf of a grateful board, that we dedicate a garden bed in your name, along with a check to select the plantings of your choice. This bed will be identified with the Rachel A. Ela Garden with a plaque, which is still in the mail. This plaque reads, Rachel A. Ela, in recognition of her extraordinary leadership, service, selfless dedication, and numerous contributions to the Exeter area community. Dedicated August 18th, 2020. Rachel, we cannot thank you enough for all that you have done. Enjoy your well-earned post as past chair, unless you'd like another term. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. I am so excited. What a thoughtful gift. That's beautiful.